Imagine being inside a storm that lasts millions of years. Not wind, not rain, but stone. Fragments of rock move through darkness. Silent, cold, unceasing. Nothing is whole yet. Nothing is stable. But something unseen is pulling. Gravity gathers what drifts too close. A grain of dust collides with another. They do not bounce away. They stay. More arrive. Pebbles form. Pebbles become boulders. Boulders collide, shatter, and reassemble again. The growing mass pulls harder. Everything nearby feels it. This is how a planet begins. Not suddenly, not gently, but relentlessly. As the body grows, its gravity strengthens, its rotation quickens, and collisions turn violent. Each impact releases heat. Stone melts on contact. The surface cannot cool. It is struck again before it can rest. Beneath the chaos, a solid core begins to form, compressed by unimaginable pressure. Heavy elements sink inward. Lighter material rises. The planet separates itself internally, without intention, without awareness. Only physics, doing what it always does. This growing world spins faster as it gathers mass. Days are short. Motion is constant. The surface is never still. Above it, the sun ignites fully, flooding nearby space with energy. Radiation pours down, adding heat to a world already burning. Earth is born inside violence. Asteroids strike continuously, each one reshaping the surface, each one adding material, each one becoming part of the planet. The impacts are so frequent that rock behaves like liquid. Oceans of molten stone cover the surface, slowly circulating, glowing red beneath a thick, choking sky. This world is now massive, solid, real, but it is not yet stable. It is only becoming. The sky above is dense and heavy. There is no oxygen, no blue, only gases rising from deep within the planet. Water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur compounds. An atmosphere forms, thick enough to trap heat, heavy enough to press down relentlessly. From space, Earth would appear bright and hostile, a world of fire without shape. Time passes differently here. Days are far shorter than they will ever be again. The planet spins quickly, still unsettled by constant impacts. The moon has not yet settled into a calm orbit. Tides are violent. Nothing follows a gentle rhythm. Nothing is predictable. Then, slowly, almost unnoticed, Earth begins to cool. Heat escapes into space. The surface hardens briefly in places, only to crack, melt, and reform again. But each cycle lasts a little longer than the last. A thin crust begins to survive. Rain begins to fall. Not gentle rain, Not passing storms, but endless rain. For thousands of years, water pours from the sky, cooling rock, filling low regions, evaporating, and falling again. Steam thickens the atmosphere. The surface hisses. Water collects wherever it can remain. Oceans form. Not calm oceans. Hot, dark, acidic, but persistent. Water spreads across most of the planet, absorbing heat, softening temperature extremes, dampening impacts. Earth changes its behavior. Violence slows. Cycles begin to appear. Day, night, cooling, heating, circulation. For the first time, the planet behaves consistently. Minerals dissolve into the oceans. Metals react with water. Energy moves through liquid rather than stone. Lightning cracks through the atmosphere, injecting energy into the surface. Heat rises from deep below, feeding chemical reactions. Molecules form, break apart, form again. Nothing is alive yet. But chemistry is no longer random. It is persistent. Patterns repeat. Structures last longer than before. Earth does not intend this. It does not plan for life. It simply allows conditions to repeat long enough for complexity to survive. The planet now has oceans to protect reactions, an atmosphere to trap energy, a surface that recycles materials endlessly. Earth is no longer just forming. It is stabilizing. It is becoming a place, a world. Nothing living exists yet. But the stage is ready. And for the first time in the universe's long history, a planet has quietly prepared itself to host something that can change it forever. The oceans changed our Earth in a quiet but permanent way. They did not bring life immediately. They did not solve instability all at once. But they created a place where change could continue without being erased. Water covered much of the surface, absorbed heat, and softened extremes. For the first time, conditions could persist long enough for complexity to build. Time could finally leave a trace. Our Earth entered a long period of waiting. Not waiting in silence, but waiting through constant interaction. Within the oceans, energy moved, chemicals mixed, and reactions repeated. Nothing alive yet existed. But nothing stopped happening either. The early oceans were warm, mineral-rich, and chemically active. Rain carried dissolved material from rock into the sea again and again. Elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur became widely available. These elements mattered because they could form flexible chemical bonds. Bonds that could break and reform without destroying everything around them. The oceans were never uniform. Temperature varied from place to place. Depth changed pressure. Chemistry shifted near coastlines, open waters, and deep basins. Every difference created a slightly different chemical environment. and Earth explored all of them at once. Energy entered the oceans from multiple sources. Sunlight reached shallow waters and drove reactions at the surface. Heat from the interior escaped through the seafloor. Chemical energy was released where water interacted with newly formed rock. None of this energy was organized, but it was constant. And where energy flows through matter, structure sometimes appears. Simple molecules formed and broke apart continuously. Most combinations were unstable. They disappeared as quickly as they formed. But some arrangements lasted longer under certain conditions. Stability became meaningful only because time was available. Molecules that lasted longer had more chances to interact, more chances to collide, more chances to form something slightly more complex. In shallow waters, cycles of wetting and drying occurred along coastlines. Water evaporated, concentrating chemicals. Rain returned, redistributing them. These cycles pushed reactions forward that could not occur in constant dilution. Concentration mattered. Repetition mattered. In deeper regions, heat rising from below created chemical gradients. Hot, mineral-rich water mixed with colder ocean water. This mixing created zones where reactions were favored again and again. The same chemistry returned to the same conditions repeatedly. That repetition narrowed possibilities. Certain molecules began assembling into larger structures. Not randomly everywhere, but preferentially in places where conditions supported them. Some molecules aligned into chains. Others folded into shapes that were more stable than their surroundings. Structure began to matter as much as composition. Some assemblies interacted with minerals at the seafloor. Clay-like surfaces provided templates. They held molecules in place long enough for reactions to occur. They reduced randomness. They introduced order without intention. Over time, certain chemical systems became more reliable. They formed in similar ways under similar conditions. They broke down less easily. They interacted with their environment rather than dissolving into it. Some of these systems formed boundaries. Thin layers that separated internal chemistry from the surrounding water. These boundaries were not alive, but they created distinction. Inside and outside. Local and global. Within boundaries, reactions became concentrated. Energy could be captured more effectively. Chemical processes influenced one another instead of dispersing. This was not life. But it was no longer simple chemistry. The oceans continued their cycles. Heating, cooling, mixing, separating. Over and over, across hundreds of millions of years. Most chemical experiments failed. Earth produced failure on an enormous scale. But failure was not a problem. Time erased what did not persist. Only stability accumulated. Some chemical systems lasted longer than others. Some influenced their surroundings in repeatable ways. They altered local chemistry. They changed which reactions followed next. complexity increased unevenly. Long periods of repetition were interrupted by rare structural changes. When those changes survived, they reshaped what followed. The Earth did not guide this process. Nothing aimed it forward. Nothing corrected mistakes. Constraints alone shaped outcomes. Temperature, chemistry, energy availability. Environment selected what could persist. By this stage, our Earth had become more than a physical system. It was a chemical system capable of building upon itself. Patterns could be preserved rather than erased. Chemical memory became possible. The boundary between environment and system began to blur. Still, nothing alive yet existed. No inheritance. No reproduction. No metabolism in the biological sense. But the gap had narrowed. The oceans were no longer passive. They were preparing a transition. One that could only occur after immense time and repeated failure. In the next arc, that transition will finally take place. Chemistry will cross a threshold. And our Earth will take its first irreversible step toward life. Crossing the line into life. For a long time, chemistry and biology remained separate on our Earth. Complex structures existed. Boundaries existed. Energy flowed through systems. But nothing yet met all the conditions required to be called alive. That boundary was not crossed quickly. It resisted change. And when it finally gave way, it did so gradually. Within the oceans, certain chemical systems had begun to persist. They maintained internal reactions longer than their surroundings. They interacted with energy in repeatable ways. But persistence alone was not enough. For life to emerge, multiple conditions had to align at the same time. Containment, energy management, and information. The first of these, containment, appeared in many places. Simple molecules naturally formed thin layers in water. These layers assembled and disassembled easily. They were flexible rather than rigid. They bent without breaking. Some of these layers surrounded small volumes of water. They created enclosed spaces. Not sealed, but separated enough to matter. Inside these spaces, chemistry behaved differently. Reactions became more concentrated. Products stayed nearby instead of drifting away. Chemical interactions could build upon one another. But containment alone did not create life. Without energy control, structure collapses. Random energy destroys organization. Directed energy sustains it. Within some contained systems, certain reactions released energy. Others required energy to proceed. When these reactions became linked, a pattern emerged. Energy release helped drive further chemical change. Energy consumption supported internal stability. This coupling marked an important shift. Chemistry began to respond to energy rather than be disrupted by it. This was not yet metabolism, but it was a step toward it. Still, without information, complexity could not persist. Without memory, progress resets. Some molecules were better suited to storing information. They formed long chains. Their structure depended on sequence rather than shape alone. They could guide the formation of similar chains nearby. Copies were imperfect. Errors were common. But errors introduced variation. Variation mattered. Some variants were more stable. Some interacted better with energy flows. Some worked more effectively within boundaries. The environment did not choose them deliberately, but it allowed some to persist longer than others. Persistence became the filter. Chemical systems that lasted longer shaped what followed next. They influenced which reactions occurred nearby. They altered their immediate environment. Small advantages accumulated. Slowly, unevenly, over immense spans of time. Different pathways were explored simultaneously. Some systems emphasized information first. Others emphasized energy flow. Others relied on mineral surfaces for structure and repetition. Most failed. Earth tested every possibility it could support. Failure was the norm. But failure did not halt progress. It simply reset local experiments. Eventually, certain combinations proved more reliable. Containment supported information. Information stabilized energy flow. Energy flow maintained containment. The components reinforced one another. This integration was critical. Separate processes became a system. At this point, something irreversible occurred. Some systems could now reproduce themselves. Not perfectly, not consistently, but often enough to matter. These systems created variants of themselves. Variants competed indirectly for resources and stability. Some persisted. Others disappeared. Selection had begun. No intention was involved. No goal existed. But change now had direction. Systems that maintained themselves remained. Those that could not vanished. These early living systems were extremely simple. They lacked complex structures. They lacked specialized functions. They relied heavily on their environment. But they were alive. They maintained internal chemistry. They used energy to persist. They produced modified versions of themselves. Life existed on our Earth. But it was fragile, rare, and easily erased. Most early life left no descendants. Most lineages ended quickly. But some survived long enough to influence what followed. The oceans filled not with organisms, but with experiments. Life did not yet transform the planet. It adapted quietly within it. Change remained slow. Extremely slow. But it no longer reset to zero. Our Earth had crossed a boundary it could not cross back. The transition from chemistry to biology had occurred. From this point forward, life would remain part of the planet's story. Even when conditions were harsh. Even when extinction followed. Life would return. In the next arc, living systems will begin to reshape their environment. Metabolism will alter ocean chemistry. Waste products will accumulate. And our Earth's atmosphere will begin to change in ways that cannot be undone. A microbial planet. For a very long time, life on Earth remained small. Not rare. Not fragile anymore. The planet was alive, but not in ways that were visible from afar. Life existed almost entirely as single cells. Bacteria and archaea filled the oceans, sediments, and rocks. They lived wherever chemistry allowed energy to be extracted. This age of microbes would last longer than any other period in Earth's history. For billions of years, microscopic life quietly shaped the planet. These organisms processed carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, iron, and hydrogen. Each reaction altered water, rock, and atmosphere slightly. Individually, the changes were small. Collectively, they mattered. The oceans became living chemical systems. Biology operated everywhere, even though the planet still looked lifeless. Life was no longer temporary. It was resilient. It survived climate shifts, impacts, and chemical instability. Earth had become a microbial planet. A world where life persisted quietly, waiting for a change that would disrupt everything. During this long microbial age, life explored ways to survive. Some organisms used sulfur compounds for energy. Others relied on iron. Some produced methane as waste. Others consumed it. Life inserted itself wherever chemical imbalance existed. These metabolisms did not require oxygen. In fact, oxygen was largely absent. Cells evolved entirely for an anoxic world. Microbial ecosystems formed stable chemical loops. Waste from one organism became fuel for another. Carbon cycled through life and returned to the environment. Nitrogen shifted between forms. Sulfur moved from rock to water to biology and back again. Life and planet became coupled systems. Still, these changes remained invisible at the surface. The atmosphere showed little sign of biology. Earth appeared quiet. But beneath the surface, life was steadily rewriting the planet's chemistry. One metabolism, however, would eventually break this balance. Oxygen altered the atmosphere further. It reacted with methane, reducing a powerful greenhouse gas. As methane levels fell, Earth cooled. Global temperatures dropped. Ice spread across the surface. The planet entered periods of near-global glaciation. Much of the surface froze. Life retreated into refuges. Beneath ice-covered oceans. Near hydrothermal vents. Within protected chemical environments. Extinction was widespread. But life did not disappear. It endured. Each crisis filtered what could survive. Earth became a harsher place, but also a more selective one. The survivors carried forward new capabilities. The planet continued changing under biological influence. Life had changed Earth permanently. The atmosphere carried oxygen. The oceans had new chemistry. Climate responded to biology. Biology responded to climate. A feedback loop emerged. Life shaped the planet. The planet reshaped life. From this point forward, Earth could never be lifeless again. Biology became a planetary force. The stage was set for cooperation between cells, for specialization, for bodies and ecosystems. In the next arc, life will begin organizing itself into complex forms. Multicellular organisms will emerge, and Earth will move closer to the world we recognize today. Some microbes began using sunlight as an energy source, not for warmth, but to drive chemical reactions. This process is photosynthesis. Early forms did not produce oxygen. Later, a form appeared that split water molecules. Oxygen was released as waste. At first, this oxygen reacted immediately with rock and dissolved iron. The planet absorbed it. For millions of years, oxygen never accumulated. Life continued producing it anyway. Eventually, Earth's capacity to absorb oxygen filled. Oxygen began to enter the atmosphere. This change was catastrophic. Oxygen-damaged cells adapted to anoxic conditions. Many organisms died. Entire ecosystems collapsed. One of Earth's first mass extinctions unfolded slowly. But some life adapted. Others learned to use oxygen. And the planet could never return to its earlier state. When life learned to cooperate. For most of Earth's history, life existed alone. Cells lived as individuals. They survived. They divided. They adapted. But each cell functioned for itself. The planet had already been altered by biology. Oxygen circulated through the atmosphere. Oceans carried new chemistry. Climate responded to living processes. Yet life itself remained structurally simple. Complexity existed in metabolism, not in form, not in bodies. That limitation would eventually change. As oxygen became stable in the oceans and atmosphere, energy became easier to access. Cells capable of aerobic respiration could extract far more energy from the same molecules. This surplus transformed what was possible. Energy is what allows structure to persist over time. It allows systems to slow down rather than collapse. It allows organization to be maintained instead of constantly rebuilt. With more energy available, some cells began to grow larger. Size brought advantages. But it also brought problems. Diffusion became slower. Internal chemistry became harder to coordinate. Signals weakened. Errors accumulated. Larger cells survived only if they solved these problems. Solutions appeared gradually. Internal membranes formed. Reactions became compartmentalized. Specific regions handled specific tasks. Efficiency increased. Cells with internal organization could maintain complexity without losing control. These cells are known as eukaryotes. They contained nuclei that protected genetic information. They used internal structures to manage energy, materials, and waste. This transition did not occur suddenly. It unfolded through cooperation between different forms of life. Some cells engulfed others without destroying them. Instead of being digested, these internal cells continued functioning. They produced energy. They processed chemicals. They benefited their host. Over time, this relationship stabilized. The internal cells lost independence. They became mitochondria. Energy production became centralized and efficient. Cells that formed this partnership gained a powerful advantage. They could support larger genomes, more regulation, more complex behavior. Eukaryotic life spread slowly through the oceans. Still, most eukaryotes lived as single cells. Multicellular life did not appear immediately. It emerged many times and failed many times. Cooperation between cells is difficult. It requires communication. It requires regulation. It requires limits on individual reproduction. Cells that cooperate must trust signals rather than act independently. Most early attempts at cooperation collapsed. Cheating cells consumed resources without contributing. Groups lost cohesion. Structures fell apart. But occasionally, cooperation persisted. Cells that remained attached after division gained advantages. They shared resources. They stabilized internal conditions. They buffered environmental stress. Over time, genetic control over cell behavior improved. Cells began responding differently depending on location. Signals guided behavior. Differentiation emerged. Some cells specialized in movement, others in feeding, others in reproduction. This specialization increased efficiency. Multicellular organisms began as simple forms: sheets, filaments, colonies, spheres. They lacked organs. They lacked symmetry. They lacked nervous systems. But they functioned as integrated wholes. This integration unlocked new evolutionary pathways. Larger size reduced predation. Internal environments became more stable. Developmental control allowed form to be shaped by genetics rather than chance. Evolution accelerated. The oceans filled with new kinds of life. Photosynthetic algae spread through surface waters. Primary productivity increased. Food webs became layered. Energy flowed from producers to consumers. Predation emerged as a dominant force. Some organisms began consuming others directly. This interaction reshaped evolution. Defenses evolved. Movement evolved. Sensory systems began to appear. Life was no longer passive. It reacted. It pursued. It avoided. Bodies diversified rapidly. Some organisms flattened to increase surface area. Others elongated for movement. Some anchored themselves to the seafloor. Others swam freely. Genetic regulation became more complex. Developmental pathways controlled when and where genes were expressed. The same genome produced multiple cell types. Timing mattered. Position mattered. Form became flexible. Ecosystems became structured environments. Different organisms occupied different niches. Waste from one species became resources for another. Death fed life. Reefs formed from biological structures. Sediments accumulated differently. The carbon cycle shifted again. Life influenced geology directly. Climate feedback strengthened. Earth became increasingly shaped by living systems. Yet life remained confined to water. Land was still hostile. Ultraviolet radiation remained intense. Soils were poorly developed. Nutrients washed away easily. Only water provided protection and stability. But the groundwork was complete. Complex life now existed. Not everywhere. Not abundantly. But persistently. Multicellular organisms survived extinction events. They rebounded. They diversified again. Evolution no longer reset to simplicity. Each recovery began from a higher baseline. Earth crossed another irreversible threshold. Life had learned to cooperate. Bodies had emerged. Ecosystems had formed. Energy flowed through living networks. The planet now supported complexity that could not exist before. From this point forward, evolution would explore form, behavior, and interaction. Life would soon leave the oceans. It would reshape the surface itself. In the next arc, plants will colonize land. Animals will follow. And Earth will begin to resemble the living world we recognize today. When life claimed the land. For most of Earth's history, life belonged to the water. Oceans protected living systems. They softened temperature changes. They shielded life from radiation. They carried nutrients and energy. On land, none of this existed. The surface was dry, unstable, exposed. Ultraviolet radiation reached the ground without resistance. Soils were thin or non-existent. Nutrients washed away easily. For a long time, land remained empty. But life had already learned something important. It had learned to cooperate. It had learned to build bodies. It had learned to survive change. Those lessons would soon be tested in a new environment. The first organisms to approach land were not animals. They were microbes. Bacteria and fungi spread across damp surfaces. They lived on bare rock. They lived in cracks. They lived wherever moisture persisted. These organisms altered the surface chemically. They broke down minerals. They released nutrients. They trapped particles carried by wind and water. Slowly, the first true soils began to form. This process was extremely slow, measured not in years, but in millions of years. But soil changed everything. Soil holds water. Soil holds nutrients. Soil creates stability. With soil present, larger life could finally gain a foothold. The next pioneers were plants. Early plants did not resemble trees or grasses. They were small, low to the ground. They lacked roots as we know them. They absorbed water directly from their surroundings. They depended on constant moisture. But they could survive outside water. This alone was revolutionary. Plants use sunlight to produce energy. On land, sunlight was abundant. Carbon dioxide was plentiful. Energy was no longer limited by depth or clarity of water. As plants spread, they transformed the surface. They stabilized soil. They slowed erosion. They altered local climates. Dead plant matter accumulated instead of washing away. Nutrients cycled locally. The land began supporting life continuously rather than briefly. Over time, plants grew taller. Roots evolved. Vascular tissues formed. Water could be transported upward against gravity. Structures could support weight. Forests eventually appeared. These forests changed Earth profoundly. They removed carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. They released oxygen in vast quantities. They altered rainfall patterns. They cooled the climate. They created shaded environments. Habitats multiplied vertically. Life on land was no longer marginal. It was established. Animals followed plants onto land. At first, they were small, simple, strongly tied to moisture. Early land animals resembled arthropods. They had exoskeletons, jointed limbs, protective outer coverings that resisted drying. They could breathe air through simple respiratory systems. They fed on plants. They fed on decaying matter. They fed on each other. Food webs formed on land for the first time. Vertebrates followed later. The transition from water to land was difficult. Fins became limbs. Skeletons strengthened. Muscles reorganized. Lungs evolved from air-filled sacs. Hearing adapted to air. Vision changed. Early amphibians dominated these ecosystems. They lived between worlds. Water for reproduction. Land for feeding. They thrived where environments shifted between wet and dry. But reproduction still tied them to water. This limitation would not last forever. Eventually, another innovation changed everything. The amniotic egg appeared. This structure protected developing embryos from drying out. It contained fluids, nutrients, protective membranes. Reproduction was no longer tied to water. Reptiles spread rapidly. They colonized dry environments. They moved farther inland. They grew larger. They diversified. Land ecosystems became more complex. Predators evolved. Prey evolved defenses. Arms races reshaped evolution. Plants developed tougher tissues. Animals developed jaws and teeth. Movement became faster. Senses became sharper. The land filled with interaction. Soils deepened. Rivers changed behavior due to vegetation. Continents greened. Atmospheric chemistry shifted again. Carbon cycles accelerated. Oxygen remained high. Climate fluctuated. Ice ages came and went. Extinctions occurred. But life no longer vanished entirely. Each collapse was followed by recovery. Each recovery produced new forms. Evolution gained momentum. Insects diversified dramatically. They became the most successful animals on land. Their small size, rapid reproduction, and adaptability allowed them to occupy nearly every niche. Plants and animals began to co-evolve. Pollination emerged. Seeds spread through movement. Life became interconnected. No organism existed alone. Land ecosystems developed layers. Soil organisms below. Plants above. Herbivores feeding. Carnivores hunting. Decomposers recycling everything back into the system. The planet changed its appearance entirely. From barren rock to living surface, Earth became visually alive. From space, color appeared. Green continents, seasonal cycles, dynamic landscapes shaped by biology. Life no longer simply adapted to Earth. It engineered Earth. Rivers changed course due to vegetation. Mountains weathered differently. Sediments accumulated because of roots and shells. The surface of the planet became a product of life. Evolution accelerated further. Large animals appeared. New body plans emerged. Brains increased in complexity. Behavior became as important as form. Memory mattered. Learning mattered. Social interactions shaped survival. Earth became a planet of ecosystems. Not isolated species, but networks of life. This transformation took hundreds of millions of years. It was slow, uneven, marked by catastrophe and recovery. But it never reversed completely. Once life claimed the land, it never let go. From this point forward, evolution would explore extremes. Some lineages would grow enormous. Others would grow clever. Many would vanish. But the planet would remain alive. In the next arc, life will reach its largest forms. Giants will walk the land. Mass extinctions will reshape the world. And the foundations of modern life will be laid. When giants ruled the earth. After life claimed the land, the planet entered a long and dramatic chapter. Earth was no longer quiet. Forests covered vast regions. Rivers carved stable paths through soil held in place by roots. Oxygen remained abundant. Carbon moved quickly through living systems. These conditions allowed life to grow large. Very large. But this transformation did not happen all at once. It unfolded over distinct ages, each reshaping life in different ways. The first of these ages followed catastrophe. Before dinosaurs rose, Earth had nearly emptied itself of life. The greatest mass extinction erased most species. Ecosystems collapsed. The planet warmed. Land was harsh and unstable. From this recovery emerged the first dinosaurs. During this early period, dinosaurs were small and cautious. They did not yet dominate the land. They lived alongside many other reptiles. Early forms like Coelophysis moved quickly on two legs. Light bodies, long tails, sharp teeth, They hunted insects and small animals. Survival depended on speed rather than strength. The land was still being reclaimed. Forests were sparse. Competition was intense. Earth was experimenting again. Time, stability returned. Continents slowly shifted. Climates became warmer and more predictable. Forests expanded. Food became abundant. This stability allowed life to grow. The planet entered an age of giants. Dinosaurs became the dominant animals on land. Huge plant eaters appeared. Sauropods like Brachiosaurus fed high above the ground. Their long necks reached into the canopy. Their massive bodies were supported by thick, pillar-like limbs. Herds moved slowly across floodplains, reshaping vegetation through feeding and movement. Predators evolved alongside them. Allosaurus hunted large prey with powerful jaws and serrated teeth. Balance, vision, and timing mattered. Every hunt required enormous energy. In the oceans, large reptiles ruled coastal waters. Ichthyosaurs moved like fish, built for speed and endurance. Plesiosaurs used long necks to strike at prey from a distance. Life grew large everywhere conditions allowed it. Even the air was no longer empty. The first birds appeared. Archaeopteryx combined feathers with teeth and claws. Flight began as an experiment. Gliding. Short bursts of movement. Escape rather than dominance. Earth at this time was stable, warm, and rich. Life spread confidently. But stability never lasts forever. As continents continued to drift, environments diversified. Shallow seas expanded and retreated. New coastlines formed. Plants changed again. Flowering plants appeared, adding color and scent to the world. Insects diversified alongside them. Pollination connected species tightly together. Dinosaurs became more specialized. Some developed horns and armor, like Triceratops. Others relied on size and group behavior, like hadrosaurs moving in herds. Predators adapted in response. Tyrannosaurus rex evolved powerful jaws and keen senses. Speed mattered less than strength. One bite could end a hunt. Feathers spread widely among dinosaurs. Some for insulation. Some for display. Some for balance and control. Birds diversified in the skies. Mammals existed quietly in the shadows. Small. Mostly nocturnal. They survived by being flexible rather than dominant. Ecosystems became dense and interconnected. Energy flowed through many levels of life. But complexity brings fragility. Earth changed again. Volcanoes released massive amounts of gas. Sea levels shifted. Climates fluctuated. Then catastrophe arrived suddenly. An asteroid struck the planet. Dust filled the atmosphere. Sunlight faded. Photosynthesis collapsed. Food chains broke. Non-avian dinosaurs disappeared. The age of giants ended. But life did not vanish. Birds survived. Mammals endured underground and in protected niches. Plants returned. Ecosystems rebuilt. The planet remembered what had worked. Each recovery began from a higher level of complexity. Earth had tested size. It had tested dominance. It had tested specialization. Now it was ready for something different. The world no longer belonged to giants alone. It belonged to adaptable survivors, to learning systems, to memory and behavior. In the next arc, mammals will rise. Brains will matter more than bodies. An Earth story will turn toward awareness. When minds began to matter. After the age of giants ended, Earth felt quieter. The largest bodies were gone. Forests remained. Oceans still moved. But the land no longer trembled under immense weight. This quiet created opportunity. Empty niches spread across the planet. Food existed without dominant consumers. Shelter existed without overwhelming competition. Small survivors stepped forward. Among them were mammals. They had lived in the shadows for millions of years. Small, warm-blooded, covered in fur, mostly nocturnal. They survived cold nights and unstable climates. They regulated their own body temperature. They fed frequently to support high metabolism. After the extinction, mammals spread rapidly. They reproduced quickly. They explored new diets. Seeds, insects, meat, plants. Their teeth diversified. Cutting, grinding, crushing. Their jaws reshaped for efficiency. Hearing sharpened in darkness. Smell guided movement across unfamiliar terrain. Brains grew slowly. Not for dominance, but for flexibility. Earth was changing again. Climate fluctuated. Continents continued drifting. Mountain ranges rose. Rain patterns shifted. Life that adapted quickly survived. Mammals did exactly that. As mammals spread, they diversified into many forms. Some returned to the oceans. Bodies became streamlined. Limbs transformed into flippers. Tails strengthened for propulsion. Breathing adapted to surface air. These lineages would eventually become whales and dolphins. Others climbed trees. Grasping hands evolved. Flexible shoulders allowed swinging and climbing. Depth perception improved. Life moved fully into 3 dimensions. Primates appeared quietly. They were small and agile. They relied on vision rather than smell. On memory rather than instinct alone. Fruits and leaves became resources. Judging distance mattered. Recognizing individuals mattered. Social awareness increased survival. Brains expanded in response. Slowly. Steadily. Elsewhere, grazing mammals reshaped open land. Grassland spread across continents. Hooves evolved. Speed became essential. Predators followed. Teeth sharpened. Limbs elongated. Pack behavior emerged. Communication mattered. signals coordinated movement. Earth filled with interaction again. But this time, size alone was not enough. Survival depended on behavior. Learning began influencing evolution. As climates cooled and warmed repeatedly, forests expanded and retreated. Ice advanced and withdrew. Sea levels rose and fell. Fire became part of ecosystems. Plants adapted to burn and regrow. Animals followed shifting boundaries. Migration became essential. Mammals capable of learning survived these changes better. Memory mattered. Experience mattered. Young animals learned from older ones. Knowledge accumulated across generations. Social structures strengthened. Groups provided protection. They shared information. Alarm calls warned of danger. Cooperation improved survival. Among primates, social bonds deepened further. Faces became recognizable. Gestures carried meaning. Vocalizations grew more complex. Hands became tools for interaction. Gripping. Manipulating. Testing the environment. Objects were no longer just obstacles. They became opportunities. Sticks. Stones. Shelter materials. Earth was now shaping minds, not just bodies. Evolution favored intelligence where it provided advantage. Slowly. Relentlessly. Eventually, one lineage pushed this further than the rest. Early hominins appeared in Africa. They walked upright. This freed the hands completely. Hands could now carry objects, use tools, shape materials. Stone tools appeared. Simple at first, but effective. Patterns repeated. Knowledge passed through observation. Brains grew larger over generations. Diet shifted. Meat provided concentrated energy. Cooking would come later. But even scavenging changed behavior. Groups became more cooperative. Care for injured members improved survival. Elders carried knowledge. Learning passed between generations. Earth observed a new experiment. Life shaping its environment intentionally. Fire appeared as a tool. Warmth. Protection. Light. Time extended beyond daylight. Gatherings formed around flames. Stories emerged. Memory expanded beyond individuals. Culture began to take form. Humans emerged gradually. Not suddenly. They adapted as Earth changed. Ice ages came and went. Glacier advanced and retreated. Sea levels dropped and rose. Land bridges appeared and vanished. Humans migrated across continents. They followed animals. They followed seasons. They carried knowledge. Tools improved. Stone became refined. Wood and bone were shaped. Language became structured. Sounds carried shared meaning. Symbols represented ideas. Art appeared on cave walls. Hands traced memory into stone. Burials reflected awareness of death. Earth now hosted a species that remembered its past and imagined its future. Agriculture changed everything. Land was shaped intentionally. Plants were selected. Animals were domesticated. Settlements formed. Population increased rapidly. Ecosystems transformed at unprecedented speed. Earth responded. Forests retreated. Rivers changed course. Atmospheric composition shifted again. Civilization expanded. Technology accelerated. Energy consumption increased dramatically. Earth entered a new phase. One shaped by intention, by memory, by choice. Human activity altered climate, altered oceans, altered life itself. Extinctions accelerated. But awareness existed alongside impact. Science revealed Earth's deep history. Observation replaced myth. Understanding became possible. For the first time, a species could study the planet it lived on. Earth had produced minds capable of reflection, of responsibility, of restraint, or destruction. The story was no longer predetermined. The future became open. Earth's long experiment had reached consciousness. What happens next remains undecided. The planet waits and listens. When tools reshaped the planet. For most of Earth's history, life followed rhythms. Day and night. Seasons. Growth and rest. These rhythms shape bodies, behavior, and ecosystems. When humans began using tools, those rhythms started to shift. At first, tools were simple. Stone shaped by hand. Wood sharpened by fire. They extended the body slightly. They made hunting easier, gathering more efficient. But life still moved with the land. Then humans learned to grow food. Plants were no longer only gathered. They were selected, protected, replanted. Fields replaced wild landscapes. Harvest replaced migration. Food surplus appeared. Time changed meaning. People could stay in one place. Settlements formed. Earth felt new pressure. Soils were turned repeatedly. Water was redirected. Animals were enclosed and bred. Life was no longer only adapting to Earth. Earth was being shaped deliberately, slowly, patiently. The first long-term human rhythms replaced natural ones. As settlements grew, cities emerged. People lived closer together than ever before. Stone replaced wood. Walls replaced open land. Paths hardened into roads. Trade connected distant regions. Earth felt movement concentrate. Writing appeared. Memory moved outside the body. Marks on clay and stone stored information. Knowledge no longer depended on individuals. It accumulated. Laws formed. Schedules appeared. Time was measured precisely. Calendars replaced seasons. Night lost its darkness. Fire burned constantly. Life accelerated slightly. Forests were cleared. Rivers were controlled. Animals were replaced by systems. Earth adapted again. Sediments shifted. Carbon moved differently. Cities became new ecosystems. Human-made, but alive in their own way. Then humans learned to amplify force. Machines appeared. Wheels. Levers. Engines. Energy was no longer limited to muscle. Wind was captured. Water was redirected. Later, buried carbon was released. Coal. Oil. Gas. Earth's ancient sunlight was burned rapidly. Motion multiplied. Production increased. Distance shrank. Noise became constant. Landscapes changed shape quickly. Mountains were cut. Rivers were rerouted. Atmospheric chemistry shifted again. Carbon returned to the air faster than before. Earth warmed slightly. Oceans absorbed heat. Ice retreated. Life adjusted. Humans built faster. Larger. More connected. Speed replaced patience. Efficiency replaced balance. Electricity changed everything quietly. Energy became instant. Light filled the night. Work continued without rest. Cities glowed. Signals moved faster than sound. Networks formed. Information traveled without bodies. Screens replaced landscapes. Symbols replaced direct experience. Humans lived increasingly inside representations. Maps. Numbers. Images. Earth felt attention shift away from land. But extraction continued. Resources moved faster. Waste accumulated quietly. Systems grew complex. Interdependent. Fragile. Small disruptions caused large effects. Earth responded through feedback. Weather patterns shifted. Ecosystems thinned. Life accelerated again. Computers appeared as tools for calculation. They stored memory. They processed patterns. Networks connected them globally. Decisions became assisted. Predictions guided behavior. Some thinking moved into systems. Later, learning systems appeared. They recognized patterns humans could not easily see. They optimized small choices. Recommended actions. Filtered information. AI did not arrive suddenly. It blended in. Quietly. As just another tool. Earth observed cognition spreading outward. Thinking no longer stayed entirely within biology. Life felt faster. More abstract. More detached from cycles. Yet still dependent on Earth's resources. The planet remained the foundation beneath all systems. By this stage, humans had become a planetary force again. Not through bodies, but through systems. Climate shifted measurably. Oceans warmed. Extinctions accelerated. But awareness also emerged. Science revealed Earth's long history. Feedback became visible. Consequences became understandable. For the first time, Earth hosted a species capable of reflection. One that could pause, observe, choose restraint, or choose acceleration. The story was no longer automatic. The future became open. Earth waited, not with fear, not with judgment, but with patience earned over billions of years. What happens next remains undecided. Earth has changed many times before. It has hosted oceans of lava, frozen continents, silent rock, living worlds. It has seen life rise, fall, and return in new forms. The present moment is only one chapter. Technology will change. Species will change. Landscapes will change again. Earth will continue responding, adjusting, balancing, long after individual stories end. The planet does not rush. It does not panic. It remembers through layers of stone and time. For now, Earth continues, turning, breathing, waiting, and this story remains unfinished.